Morning, guys. This is Ruthie from the Purple Backyard Farm, giving you a little update on the some of the plants I have in my house. Now, these are some uh, pothos, which aren't doing so great. These were all came they were pieces that I got, and so I was trying to develop them into full plants, and just to kind of show you how things are growing. The African violets I did from leaves. This section of my plants just look really terrible, and I just figured, hey, just bear through it this year, and hopefully they'll be nice next year. And so another pothos. Some of them aren't doing so good. I actually decided to plant some marigold seeds. But as you can see, it looks pretty much like a bunch of dirt. But I wanted to share the development so that when we look back later, you can see what's going, how they're doing. So they don't look that great, but they're alive. And then I have a parlor palm here, which we actually got him from Aldi's, and he's doing okay. He's getting a little dry because he's near the heater, but my plants are actually doing okay. Some of them are dry because they've been near the heater. I don't water my plants a whole lot because usually what kills your plants is overwatering. So I usually just test the soil and watch the kind of plant that it is. And I used to have a lot of plants years ago, and then I got rid of them all, but now I'm back to plants. And since I've lived out here in the country, it's just been like a renewed interest for me. And so I don't want to get rid of my plants because I actually found out that I breathe better having the plants around. And my African violets, none of them are blooming, and I don't expect them to bloom, quite honestly, because they're just not getting the light that they need. So they're all kind of getting a rest. And as you can see, everything looks like they need a good watering, but I watered last week. I haven't watered yet today, so everything looks like it needs to be watered. But as you can see, they're growing. I started out with 10. I think I've got maybe 5 good ones. One of the mistakes that I did, just to share, is I was so excited about making new African violets, which are super easy to make. They almost always make it. But I think I cut back too far on some of the leaves. Instead of just taking a few, I just butchered them, almost like a big time pruning. And I think that they just couldn't handle that with making flowers. So some of them just didn't do as well. And so I do have 4. I guess I have 4 that kind of are doing pretty good. And so this round of plants, I guess I should say, I didn't have as much of a green thumb as I wanted to, but I do have quite a few babies that are up and coming and doing good. But the one thing I would say is if you decide to propagate African violets, um, be more merciful than than I was. You'll still have plants, but the problem I'm going to run into is I'm not going to have all the colors, so I'm going to have to kind of, get more African violets to make up for the ones that died and didn't make it. So I'm hoping to keep building my collection. A big part of me wants to just stick with the African violets because I love them, but I know that with the allergies and stuff that I have, I've noticed a huge difference since I started putting more plants in the house. So I think that I'll just decorate and work it somehow. And also too, I remember too, a lot of my plants I got as clippings. I didn't get a full plant when I showed you the other ones over there. So the African violets, you can see they're growing. And the ideal situation would be for me to put them under a nice fluorescent light. But I decided that for now, they're just going to struggle through the winter. Let's see how they do. And then, and then, if you guys saw my video um, then I will, in the summer, I'll put them on my back porch that's covered because you cannot get the leaves wet. You can, but it should be like warm water. But for the newbie, don't get the leaves wet or they will just rot and kind of kill your plant off. So anyway, this is the update on my house plants. Hopefully I'll be getting a lot more. I did throw in some marigold seeds into some of the pots that they look like the plant was having it was on its last leg. So we'll see if we get any exciting flowers in the middle of, of nowhere land. before the time, and then I'll just obviously I'll take those and bring them outside. So just watch as I grow with my plants. I love indoor plants. I want to get more indoor plants. Like I said, I would love to just stick with the African violets, but I know that the other ones have really helped us with the breathing. One plant I was really disappointed that did not make it was the flamingo plant that I had, and it was kind of tricky as I got reading more about it, how it likes to be watered. And it's like it wants to be dry, it wants to be wet, it wants to be dry, it wants to be wet. But by the time I looked into it, it was already dying. And if it revives, it'll be a miracle. That's where I planted the underneath this pile was the dead plant. So if all of a sudden something revives and we have a completely different plant in this little pothos dish garden, it will be that. And speaking of the pothos, now I got these, oh my goodness, some of you have been watching for a while, maybe back in June or maybe July or something. I got them before I got my cat, so it was in July or June, and only in the last month or so have I gotten any baby leaves, and some of them I don't even have that on. So they were a lot slower grower than I thought they would be, and you may or may not be able to see it, but there's a few starts of marigolds there. I was really surprised that my wandering Jew plant just didn't make it, no matter how much I tried. But those, there again, they were pieces. So that's one plant that I really like. So hopefully once spring hits, and who knows, there may be even some trading, because I did find out that you can ship plants back and forth. There was so many different views, I ended up calling the post office on it, because I thought I saw online that you couldn't do it. So I guess you can, because that was a concern, because somebody wanted some plant things from me, which I would have been happy to send, but I just didn't know that I thought you couldn't do it. So anyway, that's the deal, guys. Oh, and look at this ivy, he's just really yellow. So hopefully I'll get some new healthier things, start out in the spring working hard at getting things good. Usually I'm a pretty good green thumb, but this year not. So just press on, and if you like houseplants, let me know. Let me know what you have, just meaning, what you like to grow. Maybe it'll give me some ideas for some plants that I can pick up. And Mr. Kitty just ran past me. He was so funny. He would not go into our bedroom, no matter what. Which in a way was kind of nice, because we didn't have him jumping on us in the middle of the night. Not that we don't, we care. But last night he decided that he was going to become part of us in the bedroom, and he kept jumping on the bed, and in the end he ended up sleeping at Clay's feet. He was just a funny guy. I got tickled at him, because when he was a kitten, he just kind of, he played and stuff, but now he cannot stand not to be right where Clay and I are every single second, and it's just hilarious sometimes. But so he decided that he was going to sleep in the bedroom, which was hilarious, because if I walked him into the bedroom, he would just run away. He'd run to get out of there, and I thought, what is the problem with that bedroom? Why don't you like the bedroom? And for some reason, he just didn't want anything to do with it, and now he doesn't care. He's in there. I saw him looking out the window a few times. He jumped up on my dresser and sat there for a while. But I was kind of surprised that last night he decided, he came in, looked out the bedroom window for a long time, and then he started, meowing up to me, and then he kept jumping on Clay. And finally he decided that he was going to sleep right at Clay's feet. So I got really tickled at Mr. Kitty last night. So he will probably, once he figures out something, he will be staying there. So anyway, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video. God bless.